Hello, I'm Joe Francomano, and today we are going to discuss NCAA Bracket. Let's start off in the East. In the first game, I think it's obvious Villanova will win. Wisconsin and Virginia Tech. Now, as the next game, I believe that Wisconsin is the better team. Virginia and NC Wilmington. I think NC Wilmington is a very good team. They scared Duke last year. They've been on a roll since. So I got NC Wilmington in this game. Now Florida, Eastern Tennessee State. I'd say Florida just because I don't know it. Eastern Tennessee State and SMU in a playing game. I don't know. SMU, I've watched them many times because I'm a UConn fan, and SMU looks like a really good team. I would pick SMU. Next game, Baylor and New Mexico State. Baylor, just because they got a lot more talent. Marquette and South Carolina. I'd say South Carolina in this game because, in my opinion, I don't think Marquette should have made it. 19-12 record, it's not very good. Duke and Troy, I'm pretty sure it's obvious that most people are going to pick Duke. Now, in the second round, we got Nova and Wisconsin. I believe this would be a very good game. Wisconsin's great defense and ability to knock down clutch shots. But I got Nova. NC Wilmington and Florida. I say Florida just because Florida has a lot more talent. SMU and Baylor now. I see an upset here. I see SMU beating Baylor because SMU is just a great overall team. Now South Carolina and Duke. Personally, I think Duke is a very, very good team. I'd say Duke SMU now. Even though I love SMU and I think they're a very good team, I'm going to have to go with Duke. And Florida Nova, I'm going to think another upset here. I think Florida's a very talented team and well-rounded team and have the better strength of schedule and better experience to win. So I'd say Florida. Now in the Elite Eight, Florida and Duke, I'd say Duke. I have them. We got Gonzaga and South Dakota State. Pretty sure it's not a shocker that Gonzaga will win that game. And now Northwestern and Vanderbilt. I saw Vanderbilt play a couple times and they looked really good. But overall, they look really good. But their schedule and the way they just don't correspond as a team. I'd say Northwestern in that game. Notre Dame and Princeton. Princeton looks really good, but Notre Dame, can't deny Notre Dame. West Virginia and Bucknell. Bucknell is not a very good team. West Virginia. Now Maryland and Xavier. I predict an upset here. I predict Xavier. I think Xavier is the much better. I think Maryland doesn't look very good. It's almost all Melo Trimble. So I'd say Xavier. Now Florida State and Florida Gulf Coast. Now Florida Gulf Coast looks really good and FSU has its moments. So I'm gonna have to decide with an upset here in Florida Gulf Coast. St. Mary's and VCU. VCU, didn't win their conference tournament. They're coming off, not very happy. I'm gonna say St. Mary's this game. Arizona and North Dakota. Arizona. Now Arizona and St. Mary's. Arizona's just a very good team. I gotta say Arizona. Now, and two underdogs here, FGCU and Xavier. I'm gonna have to go with FGCU here. They just look like a very good team. West Virginia and Notre Dame. This is a very tough game. They're two very good teams, but I have to say Notre Dame. They're just a better three-point shooting team, and I feel like they can make the clutch shots when they need it. Now Gonzaga, Northwestern. Gotta say Gonzaga, just great talent. Here's the tough part. Gonzaga and Notre Dame. I'm gonna have to go with the upset here. I'm gonna have to say Notre Dame. Now FGCU and Arizona. I'm pretty sure it's obvious that we're all gonna say Arizona in this game. FGCU, I don't think has a talent to match up with Arizona. Now in the Elite Eight, Arizona and Notre Dame. I'm gonna say it's a very tough game. I'm gonna have to go with Notre Dame. It might be a little bit of shock. A lot of people are disagreeing with me on this, but I'm gonna have to say Notre Dame. UNC and Texas Southern. It might be a playing game. I don't think so. Pretty sure we're gonna have to go with UNC. Arkansas, Seton Hall. Sadden's my cameraman that I'm gonna say Arkansas in this game. Arkansas has just a bunch of size. Minnesota and Middle Tennessee State. I think Middle Tennessee State is coming off a big win last year, if you remember, against Michigan State as a 15 seed. They've continued on their hot streak like UNC Wilmington. So I'm gonna have to say Middle Tennessee State. Butler and Winthrop. Butler and Winthrop's not very good. Cincinnati in a playing game. Cincinnati. They're a very good team. UCLA and Kent State. UCLA is very good, well-rounded, led by Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf. Very good ability to shoot the ball. Dayton and Wichita State. Wichita State's really hot. I don't know why their place is a 10 seed. I disagree with that. I'm gonna have to say Wichita State. Kentucky and North Kentucky. I gotta say Kentucky. Now in the second round, we got Kentucky going up against Wichita State. If you remember 2 years ago, Kentucky ended Wichita State's undefeated season. I think Kentucky will do it again this year. We got UCLA and Cincinnati. Lonzo Ball will take over that game. We got Butler and Middle Tennessee State. I see another upset here. I'm gonna have to pick Middle Tennessee State. They just look like the better team. Now we got Arkansas and UNC. I mean, Arkansas is good enough to beat Seton Hall, not good enough to beat UNC. Now in Sweet 16, we got UNC and Middle Tennessee State. I think UNC will end this run for Middle Tennessee, and UNC will go on to win. And now we got UCLA and Kentucky. This is the hardest game in the bracket, in my opinion. I went over this decision for about 30 minutes, deciding on what to pick, and in the end, I've decided that Kentucky will win this game, in my opinion, because I don't see the defense in UCLA. Kentucky has a good offense, not a great offense, and a good enough defense to stop Lonzo Ball. Now we got in the Elite Eight, Kentucky and UNC. I've discussed this decision with my fellow peers, and Kentucky and UNC, another tough decision. UNC has their moments and they look really good. I'm gonna have to go with Kentucky. Now we're gonna go up to the Midwest. We're gonna go Kansas and another play-in, the Kansas. Miami and Michigan State feel like is over to win this game. Iowa State and Nevada. I gotta say, Iowa State looks really good to me. I don't know how to say Iowa State. Purdue and Vermont. I think Purdue just has, I believe, 2 7-footers. Just gotta get inside, and I think they will. Creighton and Rhode Island. I don't have to say Rhode Island in this game. Oregon and Iona. Oregon would get past Iona, but not very far. Michigan and Oklahoma State. I think Michigan looks really hot now, and they're gonna play. I think they will easily beat Oklahoma State. Louisville and Jacksonville State. Gotta say, Louisville with Malcolm Mitchell looks really good. They look like a top contender in the tournament. Now in the second round, we got Louisville and Michigan. Michigan's a very good team. Louisville has too much talent. I gotta say Louisville in this one. Oregon and Rhode Island. Now I'm gonna pull off an upset here and say Rhode Island just because Oregon doesn't have their starting center. Purdue and Iowa State. Now I'm gonna say I think Iowa State's gonna be the favorite in this game, and I would pick that favorite, Iowa State. Now Michigan State and Kansas, 2 very good coaches squaring up, but I gotta say Kansas has unbelievable talent in Devontae Graham and Trey Mason. Now in the Sweet 16, Kansas and Iowa State, 2 Big 12 contenders. I'm gonna say Kansas is gonna get revenge in this game. Rhode Island and Louisville. I think Louisville will end Rhode Island's run. Louisville and Kansas. I have to say Kansas. I believe Kansas has incredible talent. Now it may become a bit of a shock, and Duke is playing Notre Dame. A lot of people disagree with me on the Notre Dame one, but Notre Dame looks like a very good team. But I think Duke, I've seen Duke play, especially after they get a couple good wins. They don't look like they're going to stop, especially from the ACC Tournament Championship. I got to say Duke in this one. In the other bracket, Kansas and Kentucky. I think 2 very good teams. As you remember, Bill Self, Kansas coach, hasn't had a lot of success in this tournament. John Calipari has won many championships, and I think Kansas might have the better talent. Kentucky has the better coach and almost equally as much talent. So I gotta say Kentucky in this one. Now the championship, Duke and Kentucky, very good teams, 2 very unbelievable coaches. As Duke gets a couple wins, they get really hot, and they don't look like they'll ever stop once they get a bunch of wins like this. So I gotta say Grayson Allen, Luke Kennard, Harry Giles, Jason Tatum, can't deny those 4.